They want to come over here and take your biscuits. Those people. The enemy that they're really going to start to hyperventilating about is... I've just seen a question on my screen. I'll come to that in a minute. But the answer is no. I'll give you the question in a minute. But there's the answer. The question to come. But what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, the enemies is wokeness. They are going to start really hammering the wokeness. You know, you woke people with your politeness and your concern for others. They just can't stand that. No! And so they're going to be hammering that big time. We're at the foothills of the war on woke, believe me. So that'll be an enemy as a unifying cause. I mean, people are already being persuaded to be furious about others who are just concerned for the feelings of other people. Seems a weird thing to get hyperventilating about, but, there it is. The supremacy of the military is the next one. Well, I think that's a bit maybe. I mean, when Bodge stands behind a lectern, dressed in a COD military uniform, then you'll know we're in big trouble, huge. But he hasn't done that yet. I mean, he has pulled on the uniform of a police person. How they managed to find a uniform large enough for him, but I don't know. But he has tried to. He does have a habit of showing up in other people's work clothes, in other uniforms. And we're about to spend a boatload more on the military, so I don't know about supremacy of the military. So that's a maybe. Rampant sexism. Kind of a maybe. Controlled mass media. Well, yes. I'm afraid so. There is a concerted effort to control mass media in this country. I mean, most of the mass media is on their side to begin with, but the bits that aren't completely under their control, they want to either neuter or bring under their arm. Obsession with national security. I think that's tied in with the army thing, the military thing. Now, yes, particularly after Rootin' Tootin' invaded Ukraine, we're kind of obsessed with national security now. Religion and government intertwined. Well, that's a big no. Not really. Although I've lost count of the amount of ministers who claim they are guided by their faith. And they absolutely aren't, because on any given issue, they act in the opposite way to that which Jesus would. But they keep telling us they're guided by their faith. No, they aren't. So in that extent, religion and government are intertwined. Plus, the Lord's has religious leaders in it. Corporate power protected. Big yes. Labour power suppressed. Absolutely. Disdain for intellectuals and the arts. Well, that is indisputable. I mean, the nerve of angular tetchy humanoid, Dominic Deck-Chair-Raab, telling Angela Rayner that she was an upstart and basically didn't belong where her betters gathered at the opera. There is a disdain for intellectuals and the arts. There's a disdain for the truth, information. Obsession with crime and punishment. Absolutely. They are obsessed with that. Rampant cronyism and corruption.
Correct.
Yep. No doubt. And fraudulent elections. Well, we're going down that road because they're copying the Republicans. And the Republicans are doing absolutely everything they can in order to secure power from now until the end of time. And one of the things that they're doing in America is introducing ID checks. You have to have a photo ID to vote. Now, they're curing a problem that doesn't exist. That's what ID are doing. They're solving a non-existent problem. There is no great problem with voter fraud in America. People aren't voting and pretending to be other people. It's just not happening. But what that does is introducing the ID laws is that those who are poorer won't have a passport or a driving licence. And so whatever number, and even if it's a small number, it's worth doing because, small numbers make a big difference, can do in an election, then they will reduce the number of people who might want to vote against the government. Because if you're poor, then usually you are less likely to vote Conservative. It didn't quite work out that way the last time around, but they're going to make sure of it next time around. So fraudulent elections, I'd say that's about 8 out of 10 ticked. So not far to go. 0345 6060 973, text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Just past 11:30 on LBC, the news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Leading Britain's conversation, LBC, with Nick Abbot.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Yes, this next call is about the answer, which I gave some moments ago. Here's the question. York. Hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick. How are you?
I am great, mate.
Good. Right, I was listening to Steve Allen the other morning, and he mentioned that Jamie Bell had been invited to a dinner with Barbara Broccoli. And he said maybe they're thinking of him for the next James Bond.
Oh, no.
And I wondered, what do you think about that?
I think...
No.
No, it's a big N-O from me, Jan.
No good.
Well, no, for the following reasons. Jamie Bell, he's the bloke out of... which one's he again? Is he the Spider-Man guy? Is he
Billy Elliot?
All right, Billy Elliot. Is he the Spider-Man guy, or is that somebody else?
I don't know.
I bet my glamorous assistant knows.
About him.
Is he the Spider-Man guy? Hello? He's just sitting there in complete silence. Hello?
Hello there.
Yes. Is he the Spider-Man guy?
Yes.
He is. He doesn't know. Jamie Bell. Yeah, he did Billy Elliot, but he was like 6 years old when he did Billy Elliot. He's done other things since then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember which one's which. But anyway, there was two that sort of came up at the same time, and one did Spider-Man. I can't remember what the other one did. But no. And here's the reason why, Jan.
Right.
Are you writing this down?
I can do. Yes. Go on.
He's too young for a start. He's too pretty. He doesn't look like he's been punched in the face a lot. And that's the thing about James Bond. Since Daniel Craig did it, he must look like he's been in a lot of fights. And Jamie Bell doesn't.
Right. Oh, so that's a definite no then.
Definite no from me, yeah.
Okay.
Who do you want?
I'm not bothered. I don't like James Bond anyway, so...
What?
No.
How can you not like James Bond?
I don't know. I just don't.
Right.
I saw the first one, Dr. No.
Yeah.
When it first came out, you know.
Right.
And
how was that for you? You didn't like it?
No, not really.
Huh.
Not really.
Well, there's been a lot since then, and
I know.
I'm surprised that you could just dismiss it out of hand. But no.
Well, that's me, you see. I just can't be bothered with it, really.
Right.
Anyway, can I mention something else? Earlier,
go on then.
Thank you. Earlier on, you mentioned the Stones.
Yes.
Did you know there's a new documentary starts tomorrow about them?
No.
On BBC Two.
Is it? Is there?
Yeah.
Are there?
You'll have to watch it later, though, because it clashes with you.
Oh.
Yeah, it's a 4-part one.
Really?
One programme on each of them, and it starts tomorrow night.
Wow. Well, I'll tape it and I'll watch it later at my leisure.
Yeah, it's called My Life as a Rolling Stone.
Right.
So, should be good.
Yeah. Well, what's not to like?
Exactly.
It's the Rolling Stones. All right.
Yeah,
thanks for the good.
Them.
You do like them. Okay, glad to hear it.
Yes, I know.
Thanks a lot, Jan. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. No, I've said this many times before. Barbara Broccoli, is this thing on? Can you hear me? It shouldn't be Jamie Bell. It should be. I mean, I've got no problem with Jamie Bell. But I can't remember whether he's the guy that does Spider-Man or not. I mean, Spider-Man is not for me. I tried to watch one of those films, and it's obviously for children. Just like I tried to read Harry Potter, and that's obviously for children as well. I like the films of Harry Potter, but the books, it's a kid's book. And there's a place in the world for children's books. Some of my favourite books ever were children's books, but I read them when I was a child. Big difference. But no, not Jamie Bell. It should be Tobey Maguire, right. See, to me, they're the same. I mean, do they look the same?
Yeah.
They do, yeah. And so what's Jamie Bell done then?
I'll find out now.
He's going to find out now. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I know what he looks like, and he's not James Bond. I'll tell you who James Bond should be, and I can never remember the bloke's name, but I can remember what the film that he was in that made me think, yeah, that guy, he should do it. It's called Starred Up. It's about, spoiler alert.
Warning, warning.
It's about a bloke who goes to prison for killing somebody. And then, all sorts of awful things happen in prison. But crucially, it does look like he's been in a lot of fights. And that's the essence of James Bond, right? I mean, at least it has been since Daniel Craig took over and revivified the brand. Because before it was all suave and so sophisticated. But that's not who James Bond is anymore, and it never was who James Bond was in the first place. The first Dr. No, he was a bit of a tough nut. Kind of like the books. And then it became, all eyebrow raised and a bit of a joke with Roger Moore. And I do like the Roger Moore films, but that's not who James Bond is anymore. James Bond is a sort of a Daniel Craig type character, and it must look as though he's actually punched people in the face a lot and has been punched a lot. Can't be too pretty. Got to look like you've just stepped out of the boxing ring. Cauliflower ear-ish. Do you know what I mean? 034, and I hope that you, Barbara Broccoli, are writing all this stuff down, because this is important. 0345 6060 973. Let's have, who's been waiting the longest, to be totally fair about this, Isle of Wight. Hello, Billy.
Oh, hello, Nick. How
Billy.
are you?
Great, mate.
Oh, good. It's lovely to hear you, Nick. You always make my Saturday evenings far more entertaining.
Friday.
For all of the right reasons.
Friday evening.
Sorry, Friday. I'm not excited about the weekend.
Yeah, you don't know what day it is.
No, I can't wish that away.
No.
Nick, I was going to talk to you about Theresa May and Boris Johnson, and I suppose I will, but how can I possibly ignore the fact that you were talking about James Bond? I've got a perfect candidate, and I don't think you're going to disagree with me on this one.
Go on.
It's got to be Idris Elba. It totally has to be.
No. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
I'll tell you why. First of all, he doesn't look like he's been punched in the face a lot, and, crucially, he's too old.
Yeah, I get what you mean about the not looking like he's been in a fight, because I don't know if I may be wrong, but if I am, then I think Gillette should definitely take him up on their opportunity to kind of have him as one of their ambassadors, because he's very clean, isn't he?
Gillette.
Yeah.
How did you get from James Bond to Gillette?
Well, I mean, if he's not going to be in James Bond, then
hey,
surely
Billy,
he needs to make them...
please speak directly into the phone.
Oh, sorry.
There you are.
I just need to stand like on a hill or something, I think, in the future.
Get to higher ground.
Yeah. But, no, anyway, I know obviously, so the reason why I say Gillette is because, obviously if you can't use Idris Elba for his beautiful sort of looks, because, that's not very James Bondy, then maybe they need to take him up on that opportunity. I don't know.
I'm sure he's earning money hand over fist, and probably Gillette and every other manufacturer of men's toiletries are queuing out the door to secure his services. Don't you worry about him, Billy. But no, he's too old. I mean, how old is he now? I don't know exactly how old he is, but too old is the answer to that question, because whoever plays James Bond next, they're going to want him for at least 3, let's say 4 films, aren't they? I mean, you can't invest all of that money in a new James Bond and have them just do one, like George Lazenby. They're not going to go through that again. They're going to invest money in him, and we, as the public, are going to invest ourselves in the new character. So he can't do it because he'll be like he's 49 years old. Okay, so they won't start filming for another 2 years. So he'll be, let's just say, 50, and then at the end of his tenure, he'd be 60. Way too old. You can't run and jump and do all of that stuff when you're 60 years old. It would just look kind of silly. Although, having said that, Tom Cruise does it, but, he's a bit of a one-off, isn't he? He does all his, well, not all, but the majority of his own stunts. But, if most people who get to 60, they creak a little bit and you can't run very well, and the leaping is out of the question. And never mind about the rolling on the ground. Forget it. Too old. Got to be at least 10 years younger than that. I'm telling you, it should be the bloke who was in Starred Up, whatever his name is. And I can never remember what that bloke's name is. But he does look like he's been punched a lot. He looks like a bit of a geezer. A bit of a hard bloke. That's what you want. Problem solved. You can thank me later, Barbara Broccoli. Does that solve your problem, Billy?
I mean, Nick, how can I argue with that? You've just dissected. I'm not gonna ever say that I'm right and you're wrong, because you are in your 60s yourself. I know that you probably don't want people to know that. I only know that because of Wikipedia. Yeah. But how could I possibly argue with a fellow? I don't know. What do you call people that are 60? I know you've got an octogenarian. What are you if you're 60?
I think I'm right. I think you'll find that that's correct. Thanks a lot, Billy. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
You're joking.
0345 6060 973. Max texts that the actor's name is Jack O'Connell. Correctamundo. Him. Tooting. Hello, Jan.
Hi, good evening, Nick.
Jan.
You're obviously very well.
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Yes, fine, thank you. Yeah, I thought I'd ring. Actually, hearing about the James Bond and this, what you said about age, I'll come back to that another time. But I haven't rang about that. But I just throw in before I come to my main topic. Is that I think there was some talk about having a female Bond, a Jane Bond.
No.
And I can't remember who it would be, who they had in mind.
It doesn't matter. They can make. It doesn't. They can make a film. In fact, I recommend that they do with a female, super spy. Go ahead, absolutely. But it's not. Bond. But it's not James Bond. How could it be?
Maybe I've dreamt it up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've rung up about something that I thought I saw caught my eye, and I thought I must ring you, speak to you about it, whether you heard about it. But Boris Johnson, I found out he wrote a novel in 2004 called 72 Virgins. I thought, what the hell is this about? So I looked it up a bit, and I think it must be a bit of a well, I shouldn't really say this. I feel a bit guilty saying something so awful. No, but it might end up... It sounds a bit like... It was in 2004, okay, when he was... apparently he was editor of The Spectator. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And he's the only third PM that's actually written a novel. Benjamin Disraeli wrote 17, but I don't know what happened to those.
Blimey, where did he find the time?
No, but Boris Johnson, his 72 Virgins is a sort of political satire. And it seems to be like the main character. It's a comedy of errors, yeah? Like, I don't know how much it's based on Shakespeare. But the main character is like a hapless bicycle-riding MP, tousle-haired. So I don't know whether it's a bit of a self-portrait, but...
Well, it sounds like it sounds like a confession to me. I'm just looking at the Guardian's report on that from 2019, and it says the book is sexist, racist, fundamentally undiplomatic, and stars a tousled bicycling Tory MP who believes that everything is up for grabs. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, that's it. Everything's up for grabs, capable of dispute, and religion, law, principles and custom. Like there's everything's up for grabs, and so you know what I mean. It's as if anyway. It's very much an anti-hero. I think they describe
it's a confession.
It as a comic. Yeah, it's like a confession because there's something about conduct of people being irrelevant or something.
When somebody tells you who they are, believe them. Believe them straight away. When their first instinct, when they blurt it out, believe the first thing they say.
Because what's it say here? It says the plot device of this novel is that the character is threatened by
don't tell us.
scandal.
Don't tell us.
Which is like him. But this was written long before he was prime. This was written in 2004.
Yeah.
I think he was a shadow arts minister.
He has been getting away with it his entire life. He hasn't changed at all since he was a child. He's still the same person.
Oh, yeah. And here, there's another description of it. It's a comic romp with a gallery of grotesques.
Yeah.
But you know
that
what?
sounds about right. A gallery of grotesques. Yeah, that should be the slogan of the next Conservative Party conference. A gallery of grotesques.
But what's so strange is that although, like you were talking moments ago about the fascists, you know, what it takes, how that those criteria for determining whether someone's a fascist and how it can be applied to Johnson. But the weird thing is that he's got such a heritage that includes Turkey. He's in Turkish ancestry, and as well as royalty, you know, related to British royalty.
Well, two different royal families, I think.
I think, yeah, but it was well, I won't say it. People can find out them for themselves. But so it's a royalty. But he had a grandfather who was a Muslim. And this thing, the 72 virgins, I think it's a bit of there's a jihadist in it who wants to...
Well, now you're giving it away.
No, but the 72 virgins is maybe something of...
an illusion, to...
No, there's 70 virgins.
I get it, yeah, it's an illusion.
It's a place
it's a
of
reference,
paradise. Yes,
quite right.
It's a place of paradise where martyrs go, Islamic martyrs go.
Yeah, in their dreams, when they actually get there, they'll find that, like everybody else that's died, there is nothing there. Where there is no there.
Yeah, but I mean, it isn't. I mean, this book, 326 pages.
Oh, that's way too many.
Satire.
You could cut that by half.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gone down very
well. Yeah.
No, and he's planning to do something. He wants to do a biography on Shakespeare.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Bodge, but you have delighted us enough. Don't put yourself out on our account.
Yeah. I mean, it's. I don't know if it's. Well, I don't know what to think.
Well, think less, Jan. Do your brain a favour. Use it less. That's my recommendation. I know I do. Thanks, Jan. A bicycling Tory MP known for tousled hair, classical allusions and flapping shirt tails. Yep, that's...
Yeah. Wait a minute.
That sounds about right. He sees the chance to make himself a global hero, that the media will judge it futile to publish the latest thing he doesn't want to tell his wife. He's just laying it all out for us. It's like somebody who publishes a book, How to Kill Your Wife, in 10 easy lessons, and then kills his wife in the way in which he's just written it in the book. Guilty! Yeah, when they tell you who they are, believe them. Kath texts, I know times are hard and people can't afford petrol or food or heating or hot water, but to cheer us all up, the Queen is going to put some of her spangly frocks and presents on show for us commoners to look at. We're all saved. Talk about tone deaf. They're trolling us, says Kath. Well, they are trolling us, but not necessarily the royal family. I think the press, their supportive press, are trolling us, because there was a big story about the royal family that came out this week. I'll get to that in a minute. exhibition are you talking about there, though, Kath? I'm unfamiliar with that. They're going to put a spangly frocks and presents on show for us commoners to look at. Wow, that sounds great. I can't wait not to go. Tony says, funny how MPs that break the rules have to resign, but Prime Minister BJ just keeps on going even after allegations emerge about him. Why is the media not making more out of it? Well, that's a very good question, because they appear to be either co-opting or be in league with a vast part of the media, while claiming victimhood from the tiny part of the media that's left that isn't in their pocket. You know, enemies of the people, those kind of things. Lefty activist journalists, you know, those. They've got, I don't know what the exact percentage is, so let's say it's about 90%. They've got 90% of the right-wing offshore billionaire press behind them, who will defend the Conservative Party to the death. But it's the 10% that aren't in their pockets already that they're concentrating on, and they're complaining and complaining and complaining.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
That they're not being written up as heroes 24 hours a day. Whining victimhood.
Stop whining.
Dean says, maybe we could replace Boris Johnson with your best mate Steve Allen as PM. Now, that's a dangerous thought, actually, says Dean. He's always doing his best. Has he left you any food of late, as he's going into hospital on Monday? Why is he going into hospital on Monday?
He's having some procedure.
Is he? A procedure, you say? Right, somebody's trying to extricate his the keys from his Bentley? Just snatch them out of his hand. Well, I wish you all the best there, Steve. I did not know that. Gina says, so sad that Matteo Berrettini, the Italian tennis player, has COVID. He really is a fantastic player. What, like science fiction, you mean? He is a fantastic player. And not so bad on the eye, 6'5" tall. Trust me, he's not boring, says Gina, who doesn't sound like a tennis fan, more like a Matteo Berrettini fan. Whoever that is, no idea. No, it's just not for me anymore. I mean, they're all too tall. They're all too robotic. There's no personality in tennis anymore. And none of them seem to have very much fun doing it anymore. I mean, you can remember when sport used to be fun, can't you?
No.
No, it seems like a long, long time ago. I mean, they don't have fun anymore. They're just like permanently on the edge of blowing up in fury because everything isn't going perfectly for them. No, I just can't be doing with it anymore. I mean, maybe if I gave it some time, like I said before, you know, and I made some effort, then I might get something from it, but I'm not prepared to make any effort. Time's ticking away too fast. They can come to me and, make a case for me watching them, but I'm not going to go and seek it out. Homework? At the weekend? Not likely. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Oh, hello.
Yeah! Dude! Taking a cumulative role in the PM's falling ratings, all of these orgiastic partying and the sexually incontinent shenanigans over at his place. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. I think that is being reported too much. I think the press are protesting too much about that. Because the one thing that I did learn, or we all learned from the by-election just gone, if you look past the headlines about the Tories losing, the big majorities and a big win for the Labour Party and a big win for the Lib Dems, you just look past all that to what actually happened, and even now, after all this, after everything that we've just been through, over not just the last 2 years, but the last 12 years, every single thing that we've just been through, still about 40% still vote Conservative. That's what we learned in the last couple of by-elections. About 40% are still prepared to vote for the Conservative Party under Boris Johnson. Now, all that the Tories have to do, and they know this full well, is replace BJ
Wait a minute.
with AN other, not anybody that's currently in the regime, but a clean skin, some new face, perhaps even an old face, but that is uncontaminated by the stench coming off the regime. Just somebody else, and they will increase that by, I would say, 10 percentage points. People will be delighted to vote for them again. You know they will. So the Labour Party and the Lib Dems have better stop congratulating themselves straight away, as in toot sweet, because they will lose again. The Conservative Party have a way of winning. They just do. And it don't make no never mind. All this stuff's just is just fluff. People are going to forget about all this. Mr. Groper at the Carlton Club. And the details are eye-watering. One MP who was at the event at the Carlton Club on Wednesday claimed to The Guardian that Mr. Groper had been so drunk he could barely stand up. Yeah, it sounds like a work event. So drunk he could barely stand up. What is it with these people and refreshments?
Booze.
By the suitcase. It also emerged that despite allegations about his own lack of self-control, he was handed the key role in enforcing party discipline in February.
What?
How totally Tory is that? I mean, it's all so, what would Donald Trump do?
Oh, shut up!
Put a person like that in charge of discipline. Comical. He apologised publicly and resigned as a whip before in 2017 after being accused by a Tory candidate of making an unwanted pass at him. And they gave him the role of chief disciplinarian despite that. And the news site Politico today identified Mr. Groper as the Tory MP said to have required a minder to accompany him to events to keep him out of trouble, something which has been denied by the Conservatives. Who to believe? Who to believe? I mean, it's not like the Conservatives have a record of disseminating misinformation, is it? Liar! I mean, it's like the last days of Rome over at their place. Party Central. And there's the corrupt, corpulent emperor recumbent while giant-breasted wenches feed him chocolates and grapes, and he fondles the pile of looted cash that he's reclining on while pontificating on childish things.
Peppa Pig World. Peppa Pig World is it has Peppa Pig
is the right answer. I mean, I don't know what the people of this country have done to deserve this, but it must have been pretty bad. Actually, I do know what the people of this country have done to deserve this. 46% voted for him. And not much less than that voted for him in the elections just gone. That people are painting as a great success for the Lib Dems and the Labour Party, and evidence of the falling fortunes of the Conservatives. But I think the opposite's true. I think the Conservatives should be actually revivified. They should take great comfort from the fact that they could still get 40% of the electorate to vote for them. Because they don't need much more than that to get a stonking majority, which is what they got last time around. We really do need some new system of democracy in this country, because what we've got at the moment isn't working. I mean, if time and time and time again we give 100% of the power to a party that gets less than 50% of the vote, then something's up, isn't it? In April, David Warburton had the Conservative whip withdrawn following the emergence of allegations of sexual harassment and cocaine use. The MP for Somerton and Frome faces a parliamentary investigation. Later that month, Conservative MP Neil Parish resigned his Tiverton and Honiton seat after watching pornography in the Commons. Tractor base. Exactly. Then last month, an unnamed Tory MP was arrested on suspicion of rape and sexual offences spanning 7 years. He was also arrested on allegations of indecent assault, abuse of a position of trust and misconduct in a public office. In May, Ahmed Khan was jailed for 18 months for sexually assaulting a boy aged 15. But, apart from that, how's the party of law and order and family values holding up, BJ?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
And still 40% of the public can't wait to vote for him. I mean, it's amazing. I don't recognise this country anymore. Where are we? I think I took the red pill instead of the blue one. Or the other way around. I can never remember which is which. Next time I get the choice, I'm going to take them both at the same time.
Groovy.
See what happens. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Leicester. Hello, Jason.
How are you, mate? All right?
Good,
How
thanks. Yes, very well.
Good morning. So I was just picking up on the comment where you said you don't understand. Forgive me if I've got it wrong. Where you don't understand why they drink so much on the work do. So please do forgive me if I've got it wrong if you said that.
Let's assume that I did. What's your comment on that?
No. So I can drink loads on the word, dude. If it's free alcohol, I can drink, and that's not saying. Hey, hold on.
Yeah,
that's not saying
you can do. Yeah, but what are the consequences of that?
Exactly, and that's the point. I just wanted to say I understand why we've drank so much on the work, dude. I didn't want to. I've not come to justify what he did because it's bang out of order. These Tories, they're getting away with it for a very long time, But I just want to clarify why we've drank so much on a wet do because it's free.
Because it's free. Because it's free. That's as good a reason as any, Jason. In fact, it's probably the best reason. Yeah, but don't do it. It doesn't matter whether it's free or not. Booze and work do not mix. They just don't, unless you're the owner of a pub. In which case, you probably shouldn't be trying your own products. I worked for a pub for about 5 years. I've never drank less in my life. Being surrounded by it all the time, and the effects on other people just put me right off it. Yeah, when you go into a work do, don't drink alcohol because you will regret it. You'll tell your boss what you really think. Big mistake. Huge. Thanks a lot, Jason. That's a little life lesson there. Just because it's free, there is going to be alcohol in the world. You don't have to consume as much as possible just because they're giving it away. Have perhaps a little sip, but don't even start, my recommendation. Have soft drinks around your work colleagues, particularly your bosses, and then you can go home and get bluttered, booze, as they say in Edinburgh. But not at work. Because you will wake up the next day and think, oh no, what did I say? I told my boss what I really think. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. JR texts, at a recent cricket match between Eton and Harrow, the Etonians chanted, "We've got more prime ministers than you" at Harrow pupils. That's clearly what a 14 grand a term education brings you, as if it's something to be proud of. Congratulations, Eton. I raised my straw boater to you. Yeah. Those kids, just revolting. They're just appalling people. And I wonder whether that's what the school teaches them to be, or whether that's what they were like when they went in. Entitled, spoilt little brats who believe or have been taught to believe that they were born to rule. Seems to be a thing with them. As I say, I don't know whether that's what the school does to them or whether that's what they were like when they went in. But that's certainly what they're like when they come out. I know, I've just, it made me almost to spit my tea across the room. We've got more prime ministers than you. Yeah, But what are they like?
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Exactly. Not something to boast about, really. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
LBC.
The world is at an imbalance. Technology has turned people into products. It has served us, but it has also harmed us. We believe it doesn't have to be this way. We've created a platform where we hope people feel loved, valued and empowered, and where you are paid every time you watch an ad. This is We Are 8, the people's platform.
T's and C's apply. Redeem through PayPal. Fees charged.
We Are 8. Reclaim your power and get money in your pocket. Download the app today.
Starting route to summer holiday. Continue straight after Are We There Yet? Exit for Ooh, BP, Who's Hungry? Continue towards tempting treats, seriously tasty sandwiches, and a much-needed latte. At the next left, break into that snacks. Merge left for the toilet break Jack said he didn't need.
Whatever this summer brings, pick up amazing quality, great value food and drink from your nearest BP store.
You have arrived.
BP, here for all of life's journeys.
At Lidl, we're big on a summer of quality for all. So why not cool off with a vegan iced dessert for just $1.99? Go classic with a family pack of 15 ice creams for $2.59, or go old school with 10 rocket lollies for just £1.09. Now that's big on quality and always little on price. Subject to availability, selected stores, excludes NI.
A traffic update for all late-night travellers. There are delays outside getting to bed due to a hold-up at Grand's Never-Ending Stories. Please take the diversion via Mayo Chicken or a warming latte, which will see you home. Plenty of McDonald's restaurants are open late tonight. See mcdonalds.com for opening times.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
How may I help you?
How may I help you? 0345 6060 973. Liam texts, now that we have left the European Union and sorted out the climate and the fuel crisis, it's all been solved. There are no further problems to be concerned about. As Liam quite rightly points out, now that we've left the EU, and sorted out the climate and the fuel crisis, have you noticed that there are more and more Australian adverts and products popping up on the airwaves and TV screens, says Liam. No, I have not. Are there? I don't think it would have been that quick a turnaround, would it? I mean, it's not like we have never traded with Australia before. I mean, they have this kind of like a trade deal. It's not really a trade deal. I think it's an agreement or a memorandum of understanding or something like that. Not really a trade deal. They pretend that it is, and it's not really going to make no never mind one way or the other. You couldn't get further away without leaving the planet entirely. How much more trade are we going to do with Australia? We sell them everything that we make that they want, and vice versa. Apart from food, of course. Yeah, there's they are going to, the big agri-businesses in Australia are going to put our little farmers out of business. But, you know, that's progress, I suppose. No, I had not noticed that there are more Australian adverts and products popping up on the airwaves and the TV screens. I mean, partly because I never watch adverts on TV. Who does? Who watches adverts on television? I mean, you would have to be watching it live to sit through it, right? Or have lost your remote control. In which case, I would recommend seeing your GP. Oh, doctor, please help me. I've lost my remote. You know, those people. No, I've not seen any adverts on television. I've got absolutely no idea what an advert on TV would even look like these days because I zip through them at 30 times normal speed. I haven't got a clue. And neither does anybody else. Unless they're really, really old and don't watch a TV taped because they haven't been able to figure out how the machine works. So they watch everything live. There's still a few of those people. Not many. And fewer with every passing year. Not a clue, Liam. I don't know. Dartford. Hello, Francis. No, wait a minute. Needs one more step from me. There you are. Francis.
Nicholas.
Francis.
Mr. Abbott, you really cheer me up. You're so funny.
Well, thanks.
Oh, bless you. Boris,
Yeah.
Bojo, he's banjaxing this country.
Now, wait a minute. What does that mean?
Banjaxing means making it, as Terry Wogan would say, it will rest in peace.
Right. So, okay, if he would say it, then it's okay for a broadcast. It sounds rude.
I don't know.
But it isn't. I'll go with that. Yeah.
He's banjaxing the country.
Do you mean ruining? Ruining.
Yes, ruining.
Ruining the
Messing up,
country. Yeah.
Banjaxing, making a mess of things.
Yes.
Hopeless, useless.
Correct. That's right.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
He's hopeless and he's useless,
Yeah.
apart from when he's trying to ruin the country, and he seems to be doing that very well.
Very easily. And as for 72 virgins, they'd be hard to find. That lady made me laugh. I thought, my God, where are you going to find 72 virgins in this country?
Well, not in Dartford, that's for sure.
It's dirty Dartford.
All right. Thanks a lot, Francis. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. I'd forgotten that he'd written a novel. And he appears to have been writing about himself. It was a confession more than a novel, really. When people like that tell you who they are, believe them first time around before they've actually had a chance to rethink their answer. Darryl texts, "You are missing an important point." He says the Mog isn't just the Minister for Brexit Opportunities. He is also the Minister for Government Efficiency. And what could be more efficient than to crowdsource the Brexit opportunities? Thus he is killing two birds with one stone. The guy's a genius. I mean, clearly an evil genius, but hey, it's a start. Any thoughts?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. Not one single thing. Killing two birds with one stone. Minister for Brexit Opportunities. I mean, it's just absolutely comical, isn't it? Have you come up with any yet, Smug?
I don't know anything.
No, he doesn't know anything. I'll just check in with him again. Have you found anything since we last spoke?
I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. Just to be clear. Livingston. Hello, Michael.
Hi.
Michael.
I was just thinking about the James Bond thing. Maybe a cross between James McAvoy and Jimmy Carr.
Jimmy Carr.
Hi. Well, he's got that kind of look anyway, hasn't he?
What, the kind of look that you want to punch in the face? Like he has to look as though he has been punched in the face, not that you want to punch him in the face. So
and then it's some work done after it.
Yeah, maybe. No, it's a no from definitely a no on Jimmy Carr, and James McAvoy. What's he been in again?
He was in. I watched it the other night. Something with Bruce Willis. It's Samuel Jackson. It was a trilogy thing.
Oh yeah.
Somebody M. Charlemagne or something. It was quite good.
A trilogy.
Aye.
3 films with Samuel L. Jackson. What was it called?
It started off. What was it called? It was just Bruce Willis.
Hang on a minute. Hang on. I don't know why you're in here, but I'm on the air at the moment.
Sorry, I'm the AP.
Well, this is an on-air studio. Red lights outside.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay,
Nothing to worry about for you, Michael. You are completely safe. I, on the other hand, have just been invaded. That's not the first time it's happened on this show either. Somebody just bursts in and takes a seat. I can't believe it. I am stunned. I'm sitting here. My mouth is on the floor, Michael. I can't believe it's just happened to me twice.
Wow.
Wow is right. What have I done to deserve this? It must have been pretty bad.
Well, past life and that.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I confess my guilt. All right, thanks a lot, Michael. 0345 6060 973. So, what the hell was that about?
It was his first day and he didn't realise.
All right. Well, ask him how he feels about it at the end of his first day. Yeah. How's it going for you so far? Yeah, that's what I thought. 0345 6060 973. Now, the last time that happened, the guy actually gave me an attitude that I was causing him grief. Now, this bloke here, the one that just came in, he was okay. He just seemed a little bit confused, that's all. Because I sit in where the production team normally sit. Steve Allen is sitting where my glamorous assistant sits, through the glass in another room. But that's not how this is working when I'm doing this show, because I run my own equipment. I'm the only person on there at LBC who actually does run their own equipment, because I'm like a DJ. Hey! And I self-op. That's what it's called. You self-op. Normally, the presenter sits through the glass at the other side in a little room through there, and the studio is operated for them. Steve Allen doesn't do a blooming thing, does he, on his show?
No.
No, he just sits there while a cloud of assistants and helpers buzz around him, obeying his every wish and command. I, on the other hand, I'm a good boy, I am, and I do the work of about 3 people. Excellent value for money, I think you'll find. Because normally there's like 3 people who work on a show, but I do the job of I do the presenter and I'm the producer and I'm the technical operator. I'm doing 3 jobs at the same time here. I think it's practically borderline heroic. And so when somebody learns how to do their show, they're sitting where I normally do it, because that guy who just came in there, he would be running the desk, as on the Steve Allen show, when Steve Allen sits through there, and he doesn't do a blooming thing. Not a single blooming thing. Just yak, 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 and meanwhile, all of the rest of it is done for him. But I, heroically have taken on the task of 3 people. So it is a little bit confusing when a new person comes in, because where I'm sitting now is where they will have trained. And so he just did what he did last time, and he came into where he would normally be stationed, and he was discombobulated, a little bit confused. You could see it on his little face, the confusion. For me to be sitting here with a red mic on, hello, red mic light. But he realised his error, and he was ushered out toot sweet. But when it happened before, I've still got it on one of my podcasts. I put it out as a podcast. Hey, have you heard the podcast though? Oh, I think you'll love them. If you wind back the podcasts of my show, the one that I do called the Nick Abbot Habit, I think you'd have to wind back about a year. There's loads of them up there. They come out every Monday. It's about a half hour of concentrated amusement from old shows. And this one, I think it's called, it's pretty obvious what one it is from the title. But he came in here and he gave me an attitude about a year ago when it happened. And I said to him, he came in and, he dumped his bags and he sat down. I don't know what he thought that I was doing, like just sitting there talking to myself, like a crazy person. Just sitting there yakking away to myself, on my own, in a room, on my own, minding my own affairs, just blathering on to myself. He must have thought I was out of my mind. And I said to him, I'm doing a show here, mate. And he very, very reluctantly got to his feet, like so slowly, and said something of the order of, yeah, all right, keep your hair on. While I'm on the air. The things I go through on this show for you. Sometimes it's an ordeal. But do I complain?
Whinging and whining and moaning.
0345 6060 973. Is he all right?
He's very sorry.
No, but is he okay?
He's fine.
Is he all right? Oh, right. Okay. Give him one of Steve Allen's tangerines.
Okay.
Paul texts, Boris Lightyear expects to be Prime Minister to infinity and beyond. Cliff says, the Brexit sunny uplands aren't even sunny when it's sunny. Yeah, Smug's still looking for him. He can't think of a single blooming thing. I mean, comically, last week he came up with we'd be able to change the exit signs from metres to yards in the Dartford Tunnel.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
He doesn't know anything. I believe him. I mean, that's just deeply embarrassing, isn't it? I mean, if it wasn't actually happening to us, it'd be comical. But an entire person who looks like a Third Reich swizzle stick has been tasked with finding a positive to Brexit, and he can't do it. And it's all he's doing. I mean, he doesn't do anything else. Minister for Efficiency. Who are they kidding? Steve Allen has a tea man as well, says Dimitri. What does that mean?
Well, someone that makes the tea.
Oh, for crying out loud. I do my own tea making as well. So I'm doing the job of 4 people. While Steve Allen he lounges in there in absolute luxury with a team of slaves who will acquiesce to his every demand. You believe that? I should go on strike. Except no one would be remotely concerned. There is that. Phil says, you keep banging on about democracy and not enough people voting. Why should we vote if the only options are people like BJ and Sir Keir? The answer is surely to vote for a man of the people, a comedian. I think you should stand for me? Start up a new political party and I'll vote for you, says Phil. Which sounds like homework to me. Homework?
Oh, no.
On the weekend? But, sir... 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott and various studio guests on LBC. It's 12:30. The news headlines with Serena Farrow.
Nick Abbott on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we are battening down the hatches and redoubling security because I have been invaded and not in a good way. Nina texts, emergency, emergency, everybody to get from studio.
Emergency, everybody to get from street. Emergency, everybody to get from street.
I am in great danger. Nothing for you to worry about. Jack says, the Nick Abbott habit, 6th of January 2020, the curious incident of the intruder in the night time. That's right. I do a podcast. I do 3, actually. This show gets released as a podcast. It's called the Nick Abbott, The Whole Show. There's also the one that I do with Carol McGiffin.
Yeah.
In which Carol and I try to solve people's problems, called What's Your Problem with Nick and Carol? And there's also the one that's called the Nick Abbott Habit. And if you go back to January the 6th, 2020, so I am reliably informed by Jack, you'll find the previous time that happened, where somebody just barges in, ignoring the red light outside, as though, it's just there to prettify the place, just to make the place look a little bit nicer. Like Christmas, like it's Jesus' birthday. And it's called The Curious Incident of the Intruder in the Nighttime. The Nick Abbott Habit. That's the name of the podcast. 6th of January 2020. You can hear what happened. If you just do an internet search on my name, then all 3 podcasts will come up as though by magic. And it's all available on Global Player, which you should absolutely have in your life. Oh, the stuff they got on there, it'll keep you amused from now until the end of time. Which, if Vladimir Putin has anything to do with, will be, any moment now. 0345 6060 973. Brixton. Hello, Clive.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Clive.
Long time no speak.
Ah, welcome back.
Well, yeah, and welcome to you as well. Listen, you know what I want to say to you is this. it's about time you stop calling Boris, because it's a real quirk of fate that the man who's standing up to the Russian bear has chosen to use a Russian name when his real name is Alexander.
Yeah. Well, Alexander's a bit Russian, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I suppose it is in a bit of a way, but
yeah.
I mean,
but less so.
This guy is like beyond the beyond. I mean, he's managed to do to this country in 2 years what Hitler couldn't do in 4.
Right. Well, that's an interesting way to look at it.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah, he is. Know?
Yeah, and then he still wants to be Prime Minister into the 30s. I'm going to commit suicide.
Well, don't do that, Clive. Don't even say that. He doesn't mean it, kids. Thanks a lot, Clive. 0345 6060 973. All you have to do is, next time around that you are asked for your opinion, just vote for the best option. Now, we've lived through an option. If you think that this is the best way to run the country, then you know how to vote. And if you don't think it is, then you similarly know how to vote. But the most important part is the voting bit, the getting off your giant bottom and waddling down to the voting station. On that subject, Jim texts, I think a general election is imminent. Why? Because if Bodger gets a whiff of a no-confidence vote, he can stop it by, yes, you've guessed it, calling a general election. Just think of it, another 5 years of a Conservative government. You know the story, the Daily Mail, Keir Starmer accused of exposing himself in the chamber. Batten down the hatches, it's coming, says Jim. Well, he's threatened that. Weirdly, he's both threatened a general election and said that there's absolutely no way that he would have a general election. So it's one of those, he's like gaslighting the nation now, and specifically his own MPs. He's threatening them, essentially, with taking them all down. If there's another no-confidence vote to defenestrate the bodge, assuming that they can find a window large enough, then he has essentially threatened them that he's going to call a general election, and they his backbenchers, might all lose their jobs because they'll be turfed out on their ear by a disgruntled electorate. And that would stay their hand, of course, unless they decide amongst themselves that if Bodger does actually call a general election, they would move swiftly to get him out straight away. I suspect the latter. I don't think they would stand for it. I mean, they would stand for it only just up to the point that they think that they might lose their jobs and the money and specifically the power that comes with it. Because for a lot of them, it's not about the money, not the money that they earn as an MP. It's about how much money they can earn afterwards by, filling their, in old terms, their Rolodex, getting their contacts book nice and fat so that they can spend their retirement doing non-jobs for six-figure sums. You know, the kind of job that you don't actually have to show up for. You just lend your name. As long as you can get yourself a sirship or a lordship, then you can lend your title to some dodgy organisation's headed notepaper, and they'll pay you a six-figure sum for not showing up to work. That's the game. And they all want a bit of that pie. It's all about the money, honey. Money and the power. Let's have a call in the Peak District. Hello, Kieran.
Hello, mate. You know what? You should be on stage. You really should. And I'm not joking.
No thanks.
I'm ringing. Let me just pull over because I'm actually going to pick my mum and dad up from the airport. So let me just pull over.
Right.
Their flight lands at 3 o'clock, so I'm just on my way there. So
3 a.m. Where are they coming from?
Yeah, the Canary Islands, Gran Canaria.
Right.
Yeah. So, and their flight was delayed. Hey ho.
Is that right? Okay, so that's the reason why it's arriving at 3 a.m. because that's a terrible time to take a flight.
Yeah. But you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
But you know what? The reason I rang in is. Do you know what? I consider myself a reasonably intelligent man. I got a good job, but I've been conned. And I was conned by Boris because I voted to leave the EU
Uh-oh.
And I now realise it was the worst mistake that I made. And what an absolute shambles. The whole thing is an absolute shambles. It's not just Brexit, the way that the government has behaved in the last couple of years especially. But now we've got Charlie, who's taking bags of cash from Middle Eastern sheikhs.
Yeah.
We don't know where that money has come from. We don't know where it's gone. There's no paper trail.
I believe that it's, as far as we know, it's gone to the charitable cause that I think was propping up this house in Scotland that he tarted up for the nation. I don't know.
But it's, what has gone wrong with this country? I love our country. I love the fact that we are a very tolerant society, but this government is turning us against each other.
Yeah.
It's making us a hateful nation.
For their own ends, for their own...
Yeah.
Which is specifically about accruing money and power.
I know you're very keen for people to vote, and I've always voted, but do you not feel that you're in no man's land? That you actually don't even know what to do sometimes? Because that's how I feel. That I think this country is in such a catastrophic state at the moment that I'm at a loss.
Yeah, I think the entire world is going through a really alarming stage at the moment. It seems to be one of those stages. You read in history books about the build-up to World War I, and you see on the History Channel about the build-up to World War II and so on. And from the position that we're in, you look back and you think, well, those people must have known that something momentous was about to happen. But of course you don't, because you're busy with your everyday life. You're thinking, I've run out of milk, and the bus hasn't shown up, and stuff like that. People are busy doing ordinary things. So it doesn't seem like an extraordinary time. But I think that's what we're going through here. We're going through a moment of history here, and people will look back and people will look back and think, well, they should have, got their head out of their fundament and actually done something about it. But, we're busy with our stuff.
Well, it's like this back channel that was created by Boris to line his cronies' pockets through COVID. Where has that gone? Do you know what? I actually bumped into Keir Starmer in Hatton Garden, of all places.
Oh, yeah.
And I said to him, because I work in the city, and I said to him, listen, mate, what is going on? Because this is this is an opposition, wet dream, if you like. Why are you not, you should be going after this lot like you wouldn't believe. And
like
what is
terriers,
going on? Because you're not.
Right, exactly. And what did he say?
It was all about what he was going to do, not what he was doing. And you know what? I still don't know what Labour's policies are. I don't know.
I hear
what it is.
I hear that an awful lot. And you'll talk to a Labour person and they'll say, well, of course our policies are this, that and the other. But the people don't know that. And you can't blame the people for not knowing that. They have not communicated that to the people. They haven't been clear. You see, the difference between the Tories and Labour is the Tories know how to win. And the way you win is you get a 3-word slogan, 4 at most, and you keep saying it over and over and over again. You keep pounding it into people's brains so they associate it with you. Get Brexit done. All the other ones that they keep coming out with. Don't confuse people. Make it really simple and repeat it again and again.
Do you remember when Maggie Thatcher, Neil Kinnock was the opposition leader?
Yeah.
How her popularity was? She was obviously in her first term, going into a second term, and her popularity was really rock bottom. And Neil Kinnock, his popularity, he was doing quite well. And then we had the Falklands War.
Yes.
And then suddenly she is extremely popular, absolutely annihilated Kinnock at the general election. And this is, I think, we're in a similar situation at the moment.
Which is why Boris Johnson is so keen to make Volodymyr Zelensky his best buddy in the whole wide world.
Exactly. And what I think is particularly worrying is that as a nation, because we're so tolerant, it's almost like we're sheep.
Right.
It's like we're weak. we can see what's happening, but we kind of just go, oh, well, you know what? You know, what is it that we can do, really? And I think that's how a lot of people feel. And it shouldn't be like that. Our system of government is broken. It's been broken for years.
Well, I think our democracy has been broken because if a Conservative Party have been in power for about 2/3 of the time since the Second World War, and for almost every single government they have got a majority of the power, or 100% of the power with a minority of the votes, then there's something obviously broken. The system is skewed in their favour. It's rigged.
Absolutely. Well, we need a new system of voting. It should be first past the post.
No, it shouldn't be first past the post. That's what we got.
No, it shouldn't be.
It should be proportional representation.
Yes, exactly. That's what it should be.
A rainbow coalition of interested people to act in the interest of the majority, like most countries.
Do you not think the US government is probably better than ours?
No.
The reason that I throw that in, the reason I throw that into the hat is that I obviously remember when George Osborne was Chancellor. You know, this is a man that took 4 goes to get his A-level maths, and I think I think the difference is in America, people that are secretaries of state have been in those jobs their entire life, whereas our system, I'm going to become an MP. You know, my mate's going to get me elected. I haven't really worked a day in my life, a bit like a bit like Osborne. So I don't really know what I'm doing. But then suddenly, you know, I'm the Chancellor of the Exchequer, or I'm like Hancock, you know, I'm running the NHS, but I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. You know, so I'm just going to make a complete hash of it.
Yeah, there is a lot of that, but I think that the last country in the world that we should be emulating right now on that or any other issue is America.
Yeah, well, I agree, but I'm just thinking about their system in terms of how those top people have obviously been in that environment their entire.
But do remember that Trump sacked a lot of them and just replaced them with exactly what we're doing here. What BJ is doing is putting people in positions of power in institutions that they either have no knowledge of or are ideologically opposed to existing.
You crack me up every time you call in BJ. You absolutely crack me up.
All right. Hey, which airport are you picking your parents up from?
Birmingham.
Oh, well, their suitcases will probably be in Stansted, just to let you know. Thanks a lot, Kieran. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late.
0345 6060 973. Scott emails, now you're finally catching on to the Beatles. I think it's time for you to properly check out Queen. No. I mean, Bohemian Rhapsody, of course. Seven Seas of Rye, why naturally. Killer Queen, absolutely. We Will Rock You, yep. Other than that, I don't know, a bit too overblown for me. Plus, I could never really... Freddie Mercury kind of, I don't know, just grossed me out a little bit. It's just, you know, no. No. Highgate, hello, Claire. Claire.
Hi, Nick. Hi.
There you are.
Nick, can you do me a favour? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Well, kind of. Yeah. Are you speaking to me in a submarine?
A year ago now, you didn't.
You seem to be coming.
Oh,
you seem
I'm
to be...
so sorry.
Claire,
hang on, let me sit up. Maybe that will work.
Yeah. Put one end to your ear so you can hear me.
Oh, hang on. I don't know what to do.
And the other end to your mouth.
Hang on. I know why it was. So sorry, Nick. Right, Nick.
Claire.
Yeah, I've done it. I know where my mouth is. Just about. Nick, a while ago, you did me a favour. I rang up and complained to you that you were calling Boris Johnson Boris and said, could you please not do that? And you started calling him Bodge or Bodger.
Bodger.
And that's, I just want to ask another favour, because we're heading towards the election at some point. The marketing has to start as soon as possible, and Bodge is quite affectionate. Would you consider, please, changing his nickname to something like the Scoundrel or something? So something that defines what he is, because I think Bodge is still quite affectionate. Doesn't quite tell the story.
I do
Could
agree.
you find something? Will you do me a favour?
I agree.
I'll pay you.
I agree in with most of what you say. Yeah, Bodge, there is a certain affectionate ring to it. How about I just use his initials, BJ?
Yeah. Well, that's it's a bit sexualised, isn't it? I mean, it's a bit of a joke. What about calling him Johnson? What about just actually using the grown-up term?
Right, well, ditto.
Johnson.
Yeah, but ditto to what you just said. I mean, BJ, Johnson, I mean, it's all a bit... it's all a bit near the knuckle, isn't it?
Disgusting. Well, the thing is... well, Johnson, I suppose... Well, but Johnson is the only name that the press uses in mature articles for people. They use the surname.
Mr.
And it's
Johnson.
just a reminder that he's supposed to be a professional politician. But... not Mr. Johnson. Just Johnson.
That's what they say. They print
the Scoundrel.
They print his
or something close.
You can't actually hear me, can you, Claire? You haven't got the phone to your ear, have you? You just keep blasting through me like a snowplow.
Have.
Right. Okay.
Well, that's what I love to do, Nick. But I can hear you. Can you hear me?
No.
Oh, we've gone. No, you can't. Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, I can't.
Nick, I adore you. Good night.
All right, I can't hear a word, Claire. You're getting fainter. Was she loud enough?
Yes.
A little bit, yeah. Plenty loud enough. I could hear every word, apart from those that I couldn't. Paul says, they only have to promise sweeties to get elected. They don't have to deliver. While delivering for the British people a burning paper bag filled with Brexity-ness on their doorstep, ringing the bell and hurriedly moving on. That was a very complicated thought there, Paul. I get it, but, a bit laboured. Jacob emails, I missed Paul McCartney do his stint at Glastonbury, but did he do the frog song?
Rock and roll!
No, he did not. He didn't do Mulligan-Tyre either. Now, Mulligan-Tyre was a song that... when it came out, I just couldn't stand it. Principally because they just played it all the time. And then it was number one for about, 7 years? And, you hear a song once and you think, well, it's okay. But if you don't love it and you hear it about 8 million times, then you just you get to really, really hate it. Plus it had bagpipes in it.
Oh, no.
But you know what? If I heard it now, I'd probably quite like it. My whole idea of the Beatles has completely changed, and it was changed by that Peter Jackson film, that 3-part documentary, which lasted forever. And it was forever watching people sitting around in a studio just chatting, which you wouldn't think would be interesting at all, but it was absolutely riveting. I've spoken to a few people who sort of watched a bit of it and thought, well, this isn't going anywhere, so I'll stop watching it. But believe me, just watch all of it. And you only have to watch it once in your life. And it might completely change your idea of the Beatles. It did me. Because I was always, the songs will come on the radio and you think they're quite nice, jolly pop songs. But I didn't really think much else about them. I always thought they were a bit overrated. No, not overrated. I mean, him and Lennon... probably the greatest songwriters in the modern canon. Think of any other songwriters who have written so many tunes that the whole world knows. There aren't any. I mean, the only ones that we even come close would be the Rolling Stones. Other than that, there ain't no one. And it's not just that. It's not just the number, which is remarkable. It's the different type of songs that they wrote. They weren't all the same. Because you could say about the Stones, they all fit in a certain category. You know, it's all American blues rock, which I love, but there's no doubt about it. They're all of a type, mostly. Whereas the Beatles, they're all over the shop. You've got that sort of acid hippie drippiness of Tomorrow Never Knows, and you've got the straight sort of silly pop songs like Obla Di Obla Da, and then you've got heavy rock songs like Helter Skelter, and they're just all over the shop. So it's not just the number; it's the breadth of the writing as well. And I'd never really clicked with me. I had never really sort of got that. I'd always because I'd never bought a Beatles album. I wasn't really that interested. But I think now I'm all grown up. I appreciate them for what they are. And him particularly, Paul McCartney, because I previously always thought John Lennon was the one, but I don't think that anymore. I think it's all about Macca. He was the one. So do yourself a favour and watch that Glastonbury set. It is great, and it won't be on the internet forever. So catch it while it's there. And if you've got a spare 10 hours, watch the Apple Get Back documentary as well, because that's superb too. And you can thank me later. No, wait. I've changed my mind. You can thank me now.
Thank you.
I'm going to be back at 10, I believe. Let's just see. Scroll right down to the bottom of the page. There it is. Jim Diamond is here at 4 o'clock. But first, Clive Ball.
Thanks very much, Nick. And coming up after the news, Chris Pincher loses the Tory whip over groping allegations as the catalogue of sleaze stories continues. Is this just something that goes with the job of being an MP, or do you think it's a sign that one party has just been in power for too long? In other political news, The Guardian reports today that Keir Starmer is to pledge to never do a deal with the SNP. Is that the right approach, do you think? The government has this week revealed the revamped National Plan for Music Education. How important do you think it is that schools teach us about music? 0345 6060 973.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom at 1 o'clock, Boris Johnson has been facing questions over his delay in suspending the Tory whip from an MP accused of groping two men at a private members' club. Fresh allegations emerged against Chris Pincher when an investigation was started by Parliament's sexual misconduct watchdog yesterday. Henry Hill, who's deputy editor of the blog Conservative Home, believes the Tory leadership is too slow to tackle embarrassing scandals such as this.
It's all adding up. If you look back to where we were in November, the Prime Minister was well ahead of the polls, the government was well ahead of the polls. Then we had Owen Paterson, then we had Partygate, then we had Wakefield and Tiverton and Hodgson, and now we have this. And it's clearly, this is building up and taking a cumulative toll on the Prime Minister's ratings.
A vigil will be held later for Zara Alina, who was murdered on her way home from a night out. The 35-year-old was attacked in Ilford in East London last weekend. People will gather there to walk the 10-minute journey from the scene to her home. Zara's aunt, Farah Naz, tells us what her niece was like.
Giving, supportive and fearless. She had, if I had to use one word, I would say independent. That was what she valued more than anything, her independence.
And a man's been charged with her murder. A train company is advising people not to travel on its services today. Greater Anglia says it's because of a strike by drivers, which will mean only 10% of trains will actually run. It's because of a dispute over pay. There'll be just a handful of services on the main lines and none at all on regional or branch lines. Thousands of people are expected to take part in a march through central London later to mark 50 years since the UK a Pride parade. Campaigner Peter Tatchell was among dozens of Gay Liberation Front activists who organised the event in 1972, has been involved ever since. He says there's been huge progress for LGBT plus communities.
Still today in our schools, nearly half of all LGBT plus kids have been bullied because of their sexuality or gender identity. So clearly the laws have changed. We're no longer the criminals we once were, but still there is more work to do.
LBC weather, cloudy and wet, particularly in the north to start with, showers elsewhere, with a little bit of sunshine in the southeast and a high of 20. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Serena Farrow. 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 I'm